Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
It's a blessing to be in this position, and we're just thankful to be here. We're thankful to have the opportunity to go out there and play in front of the 12 man.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
It's been special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
At what point, we're not there yet, right? But at what point do we like, why are we talking about the postseason? Because, yeah, they can make it, but you don't make it when you're playing your worst baseball the last part of the season. And they're playing their worst baseball right now.
Yeah, I guess they can make it if they win the SEC tournament. I think the resume has been spoiled, especially, we're talking baseball, obviously, especially after the bad team that swept you last week got beat 25-7 last night by another bad team. So I think tonight.
Who fired their coach?
Yeah, I think tonight's game, I think maybe A&M still has a chance if they can win the series against Georgia.
Okay.
Because then, you know, the whole, hey, you beat a top 10, you want a series at top 10 Georgia, you know, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think the nail is like more than halfway into the coffin, and maybe it already
Here's
is.
the reality, though.
Okay.
I know me. I don't believe they will. Okay? But if they, I don't believe it. And I haven't believed in a while, right? Maybe since the Texas series. And I know I've heard, man, that was a series they could have won. Yeah, they didn't. They lost. And I'm sorry they lost to them, and it matters. It matters to me what happened. We were number one. They took all the things. It matters. But regardless, if they go through the SEC tournament and they were to win, huge if. I know. Please don't get mad at me for talking about the ifs. It's a talk show. We do 15 hours. We do ifs. If they did, then I would be like, I know me. I'd be like, they can beat anybody in the world. They can lose to anybody in the world, but they can beat anybody in the world. That would happen. And why not us? Look, we turned it around. We turned it around for a whole month in April. We can do it in June.
Why not us? How about because we're probably not going to have Cadence or the rest of the season? How's that for a good reason?
I don't want to predict that, but it didn't look good.
That's why I said it may not.
Yeah.
So, it's just, it goes from bad to worse.
But then it looked so, they are the most difficult team to understand. Because, like, they had that stretch, and again, it was a stretch, but it was a month stretch. Against incredible talent. Incredible talent. But here they are. Like, I'm not mad at them for losing to Georgia per se. I'm mad at the situation that they're in based on who I think they should be, but who I thought they should be isn't the team that I thought we got because injuries, and it doesn't matter. I'm about results. I'm done with Le'Veon Moss got hurt and Haynes King got hurt and Max John. I just want to win games and not worry about who gets hurt.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've had some bad breaks, no doubt about it. But you look like you had overcome those bad breaks. And for all the reasons we talked about, that hot, stretch, there's no excuse for what happened in the Missouri series. And then you follow it up with a 3-0 lead last night. And, I mean, you're up 6-1 on Missouri in the first game, and that evaporated. So I don't think, anybody thought, okay, we're going to win. They're up 3-0. But to watch it just disappear in a 7-run inning by Georgia, in the fourth, fifth inning? Third inning?
Yeah. Look, I still love those players. I still love Coach Early. I still hope for them to make the postseason. I still, hey, remember, was it LSU or whoever got Ole Miss a couple years ago got in at the very last weekend? Like, and LSU got in last last year because they beat A&M, right? So, yes, in Florida got in on the very last weekend last year, and they made it all the way to the College World Series. So I want to be invited and see where it goes, right? That's the reality of the situation. Let's see if this team can maybe get lucky, right? But it just feels like this is who they are. And if we talk about the totality of the season, the totality, right? That's what we've talked about all year. Let's see when it's all said and done. We're about to the end. And the totality of the season has been, they had some impressive wins. Mm-hmm. They've had too many bad ones, too many bad losses.
I don't know that you come back from Missouri. I don't know that you come. That's the stain that just won't go away. That's the big dent in the Ferrari.
I don't think you can come back from 17 strikeouts.
Well, see, that's the thing about this team. They strike out at an alarming rate. Alarming. Because, as you know, as everybody knows, if you at least put the ball in play, something good might happen. The problem is, along with the 17 strikeouts, they have a propensity when they do get the ball in play to hit into double plays.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, a very limited knowledge up and down the lineup of apparently of the strike zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then of course you thought you could rely on at least your starting pitching, and then you didn't get a great outing last night from your starter. So I don't know. Again, I hate to say this, maybe I'm dead wrong, but to me, it appears that you have a team that just wants the season over.
What players on the team, and I don't want to make it about individual players, but like who has met or exceeded expectations?
Caden Sorrell.
Yep.
The totality.
Lampkin has met expectations, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Patton, I think, he's been a pretty solid, usually, day 3 starter.
Caden Kent?
Yeah, I think at least he met expectations.
Met expectations, yeah. TK exceeded.
Yeah, he's a freshman. He has a little bit of a slump, but that's going to happen. Yeah, I think he's exceeded.
Jason Hayden have not met what I think the expectations were.
Oh.
And I mean, I understand that Hayden's had some reasons for it. I get it. But it's just, because the reason I'm saying all that is there was a conversation we had on this show before the season. If everybody hits their average and hits what they normally do, the kind of numbers A&M would have. Well, the reality is a lot of people have not met those numbers. Home runs are way down this year as a group, right?
Yeah.
Maria, look up how many home runs A&M has this year, if you don't mind, as a team. Jace's numbers aren't there. Caden has great numbers, but missed a big chunk of the season. Right?
Half at least.
You don't have Gavin Grohovic.
Right.
So these are all. But I think once you get to the point where you beat top teams in the middle of the year, you're past all the injury stuff. This is who you are. This is your group. What can this group do at the very end when it matters? And right now, they've lost 2 out of their last 3 series. About to be 3, unless they figure it out tonight.
You got that, Maria?
87.
And how many they hit last year? Like 120
well, they
something?
set the school record last year, right?
Yeah.
I can go look.
Now look, they played a lot more games last year than they might this year.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, well, I shouldn't guarantee. I expect, I guess, that at this time last year they had significantly more. Plus, I'm sure they had a higher team batting average, and I would question that they had nearly as many strikeouts.
136.
136 last year.
Yes.
And if I think the conversation
about
was
50 more.
Than
this year.
And
yeah,
a bunch of more games. But that's part of the story, right? You play more games if you're good.
If they had 50 more home runs last year than this year, I'm guessing at this time last year, they probably have 30 more home runs than they have now.
And while you're at it, as we're discussing this, look up strikeouts this year to strikeouts last year.
So
this is a team that struck out a lot during the Schloss years. I know that, but they hit better.
Yeah,
they took more walks.
Isn't A&M last in the SEC in team batting average? I'm pretty sure that's the case. So there's just, it's just been a frustrating season.
Pretty much all year.
Except for, that stretch of when you got hot after the third game in Tennessee.
Look, we get paid to talk and talk scenarios, right? But literally 3 weeks ago, there was maybe a chance, maybe they can host. What the hell? And we knew it was a pie in the sky, but if this team loses and they keep winning these series, why not?
This time last week, I'm thinking they're going to go 15-15 in the SEC, and people are going to be looking at what they were 1-9, and look at them now, because of course they're going to sweep Missouri. Everybody sweeps Missouri.
Who doesn't?
Everybody sweeps, and you got them at home, and no, you get swept. And then I'm thinking, well, they're going to sweep Missouri and win 2 out of 3 against Georgia.
Yeah.
And then they're going to say, hey, they're 15-15. They got off to a bad start. Everybody's going to see that. You don't want to play them now. And, yeah.
Strikeouts
here we are.
From year to year, please.
Last year, it was 627 strikeouts, and this year it was 451.
Okay. Well, look at your face. You're like, how's that possible when they've had 17 strikeouts a couple times this year, 15?
Is that? Okay. I'll stand corrected.
So, but how many more games? Not that would make up that big of a difference.
Now, listen, is that how many strikeouts that the A&M batters had, or how many strikeouts the pitchers
pitching staff
had?
have? Yeah, double check that.
Okay.
Yeah, double check that. Yeah.
I mean, 17 strikeouts is just bewildering. And you know what? I say that it should be bewildering, but 17 is a bit excessive. But if you tell me 12 or 13, I'm going to say, oh yeah, that's kind of par for the course.
Yeah. This is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Softball team's good.
Oh, we're going to talk about them. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studios, the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, and we're currently hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. If you want to be a part of that conversation, you can call us up at 979-693-1150. That is the Bubby's Catering hotline, or you can text the show at 979-693-1150. Maria, you did more research?
Yeah. I was accidentally looking at the pitching, but
Okay.
for batting,
Sorry, thank you.
it's 715 last year. And then this year, same number, 451.
I feel like we're going to have to go deeper into these numbers at the break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I'll stand corrected.
Let's go around the room and say hi to the people. Cade Bickham working today. Nick Savage taking a day off. Actually, he's working hard like a boss in the background. Cade, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, y'all. How are y'all doing this morning?
I'm doing all right.
I'm kind of grumpy. I mean, a little grumpy, just a little bit. You?
I'm doing all right. Well, and based on what y'all said, I know we're talking about strikeouts and walks. Last year, I did some research before the baseball season started. Last year, we were one of the teams that struck out the most in college baseball. But they also walked. I think they had the most walks in the country last year. And so it's really just about what happens when they're not striking out and walking, and that's been a big issue this year. I think that A&M is last in the SEC on batting average on balls in play. That's just not where you want to be, especially at this point in the season.
Maybe it just seems like more because so many of them, when I'm seeing, it's a strikeout looking.
I'm going to have Dawson look deeper into those numbers just to make sure we come back and get that right. Yeah, Kate, look, at the end of the day, they're just not getting it done. And they're not getting it done in multiple areas. Starting pitching sometimes really good, sometimes not so good. Mm-hmm. Defensive miscues happens a lot. Mm-hmm. Strikes out a lot, don't walk a lot. Best players, have a good game then a bad game. They find different ways to lose as opposed to find different ways to win. The softball team finds different ways to win.
Yeah.
Right?
The tennis team.
They definitely find ways to win, even when they don't have their best stuff.
Yeah.
Congratulations, the women's tennis team going to the Final Four, by the way.
Dreamweavers.
The Dreamweavers. Softball starts later on today, and hopefully baseball gets it right.
Yeah, I'm always going to root for them. Yeah. But, at some point, you got to you got to call it like you see it.
Yep. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We've already checked in with Maria, but we'll check in again. How are you this morning?
Good. How are y'all?
Good.
Still bad.
Going into women's tennis, the number 2 Texas A&M women's tennis team is returning to the semifinals of the NCAA championship for the second consecutive season. The Aggies beat the number 10 Tennessee Volunteers 4-2 in yesterday's quarterfinal match at Hurd Tennis Center. Number 67 Mia Kupres came back from being down 4-1 in a second set tiebreaker and clinched the match for Texas A&M. The Aggies gained the upper hand in the second sets, winning 5 of 6 on 3 of the courts. The second set win kept the action alive. This marks Texas A&M's 3rd trip to the NCAA semifinal. In addition to last year's national title run, the Aggies played in the 2013 champion match. The Aggies will now take on Michigan or Oklahoma State in the semifinal match Saturday at 1 p.m.
I'm glad it's
So
not
do
an
they
SEC
play?
team.
Do Michigan and Oklahoma State play today? Do we
Yeah, I
know?
think that's the case, yeah. And then they will play, when will they play Saturday?
At 1 p.m.
Okay. And then the championship is Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. So we could have a national, we'll probably have a rematch of
Georgia
Georgia.
and
I don't know who Georgia's facing. I don't know enough about it, but I do know that hopefully A&M takes care of business, and we'll have another championship to talk about on Monday, I hope.
always root for the Aggies. I like all the coaches, but I especially like Mark Weaver.
Yeah.
So rooting for them.
Easy. And predicting victory, easy.
Well, it's never easy.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's easy to think that they're going to win.
Yeah, and good team.
Like, I think,
does the Stoyana girl ever lose?
Not very often.
Yeah.
Anyway, one more story, Maria.
Texas A&M soccer strengthened its offensive lineup with the addition of former Big 12 striker Shea Ryan. Head coach G announced yesterday. In 2024, Ryan played in 22 games for Kansas, including 2 starts. She logged 2 goals and 1 assist with markers against West Virginia and South Dakota State. Coach G says, "We love her work rate both in attack as well as on defense. She creates problems for the opponent throughout her great physical strength, speed, and tenacity. She immediately makes us more dangerous in attack, and I'm sure she will be a big favorite of our Ellis Field fans."
Yep. By the way, it was Coach G's birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, Coach G.
I did see that, yeah.
Coach G.
Hope it was a good one.
Let's hit a break, OB. We'll do a little bank on it, and I know who I'm banking on. I bet you're banking on the same group of humans.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to bank on the same thing. Right now, if you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggieland or already in Aggieland and you're looking for a great gig, check out the Association of Former Students. They're looking to hire professionals in many different departments, fundraising, communication, sales, you name it. They've got a lot of different marketing as well, a lot of different potential openings there. So just check out the website and see what they have. They're the premier alumni association supporting the Aggie Network. They've been a part of every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Aggie socials, Aggie reunions, Aggie Rain Day, you name it, Aggie muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. If you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information. It is the Association of Former Students.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Liucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Liucci sent you by.
All right, we won't talk strikeouts anymore. Let's talk about banking on something, OB.
Okay.
Let's talk about what we can bank on. Bank on it, by the way, here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, presented by Vera Bank, authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. All right, OB, what are you banking on?
I'm going to bank on that women's tennis team, Mia Kuprez, Mary Stoyana, if I say her name right, and all the others, that's the defending national champs. I'm going to bank on them to just keep rolling, beating Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So Michigan did end up winning. So tomorrow they won 4-0 over OK State. Okay. Yeah, and that's a great one to bank on. I'm going to bank on softball, not only winning cleanly and I don't want to say easily because it's never easy, but I'm going to bank on a softball team that is the number one team in the country. But it brings something up. You heard on the way here.
Yeah, I'm surely someone else heard it. I'm surprised it hasn't been posted on our forums. But so I was listening to the college sports today on Sirius Radio. It's usually Danny Cannell and Dusty Dvorak, but Dusty was off today. And they had an ESPN analyst who she played at Florida.
Yeah.
Her name was Alicia Ocasio.
AOC?
Well, there's a and the C.
Yeah.
There was the O was, oh my God, when they asked her, what do you think about Texas A&M being the number one overall seed instead of Oklahoma? Okay. And she said, look, I'm not quoting verbatim, but she said something along the lines of, it's all right. Oklahoma and Texas, they've been, in the 1 and 2 most of the year. And, they played for the national championship last year and had some great series. They went down to 3 games and they've been playing great all year. And then she started mentioning some Texas players, and I'm yelling at nobody. I'm yelling at my radio saying, you buffoon, it's Texas A&M, not Texas. This is somebody that ESPN's putting on as their expert analyst. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what are they going to say when she finishes butchering this question? How are they going to respond? Because are you going to say, but what do you think about Texas A&M? And of course, they don't. They just changed the subject.
They just moved on.
What would you, as an experienced radio host, have done in that situation? Just let it go?
Well, if it was on TexAgs, I might have been like, what show you're on, right? I would have I would have been like, yeah, but that's Texas, the number whatever team in the country. I asked you about the number 1 team in the country, the number 1 overall seed, Texas A&M.
Yeah, she sounded like she'd just woken up.
Guess who I won't book on the show? AC.
Like I said, AOC. Alicia, oh my God, Ocasio.
All right. By the way, I found this interesting. Paul Lopez says, not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but Morgan Wallen's new album dropped overnight. I know you're a big Morgan Wallen guy. And there's a song that mentions the Vols played Texas A&M. The song is called Nothing Left. He says it's kind of fitting. So,
was that referring to Jimbo Fisher's offense in that game? You know where that game turned? We're talking about that loss up in.
You're talking about baseball or football?
Oh, okay. He's talking about baseball. I'm talking about football. I'm sorry. I'm always got football in the brain. But you know how that football game turned that year that they lost? It turned just at the end of the half when Edrin Cooper got hurt.
Oh yeah.
Left the game because Tennessee couldn't do anything.
Walter Nolan not long later. We thought he was done.
I thought he died. And then I hear he was dancing on the plane on the way home.
Yeah. By the way, look, we're not going to spend too much more time on the strikeouts, but I got some numbers. So actually, I went upstairs and Richard gave me some of the info. Yes, they struck out at a higher rate last year, 1 more per game. The difference is they walked. They're walking 40% of the time less this year. That's the difference. So per Richard, last year 627 strikeouts, program worse. 68 games is 9.2 strikeouts per game, 451 Ks this year is 8.84. Last year, though, 422 walks, 6 a game. This year, 265, 5 a game. Slugging is down 64 points. OBP down 32 points, and average is down 33 points. They went from 298, just under 300. This year they're batting 265. Those are your numbers.
Add it all up, it means you're probably going to miss the postseason.
All right, OB. We're not going to be funny. We're going to be very factual about 1775. Okay?
Okay, I'll give you facts.
I want facts, but I want passion. All right? I want brutal honesty.
Brutal honesty.
But I want you to get to like, all right, I put a plate there, and let's say it's brisket. Tell me something from 1775.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to probably order some today. It's when I go there at noon. Mike and I are going to head over there.
Okay.
And I always look forward to going to 1775. I'll go as often as I have the opportunity to. And that brisket, but I may get the pork ribs, and I may get that jalapeno cheese sausage. And you know what? I may just order the whole sampler.
Okay. And what are the chances you get sides?
Well, sides, probably bad. Because I'll probably just get one side.
You just need a side.
And if I get that side, I'm on the side of queso mac and cheese.
Front and back, side to side, baby, right?
Yeah. Fortunately, too much of that macaroni and cheese went straight to the back side, but that's okay because that's how good it is.
1775.
It's worth the sacrifice.
Their dedication earned them a spot in Texas Monthly's Top 100 barbecue joints. Call them up, 979-492-6241, or visit them at 1775txppq.com. All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals to make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And here's another thing. They're going to be at the Troubadour Festival this weekend. We'll have a booth there. Go say hi. Tell them TexAgs sent you by. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
Go.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this?
Hey, we're on. Sing it.
This was the White Oak Roughnecks kind of adopted theme song in the 1980 season when they went 9-1.
So I have a segment planned for us, but I want to go to the text line for a moment. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Maria, can you read me Jerry's most recent text, please?
He says, "Morning, fellas. Hey, David. You're always so negative about the baseball team. Wait till this fall when your beloved football team is losing their butts, too."
Wait.
I'm always so negative about the baseball team.
That's not true.
Well, I mean,
you're negative now. I'm negative now.
I'm sorry. Yay! But hold up. But I ask you, why did you text that, Jerry? Because what's the text from May the 5th right before? Because it sounds kind of opposite to me. Can you read this one to me, please?
He says, "Hey, guys. Good morning. Yes, David, you are correct. Are you rooting for Mike Early? He's a good guy, unlike the last coach who was a good baseball coach."
So I'm going to pause you right there. So a week ago, I'm rooting for Michael Early. Sounds positive to me.
I'm rooting for Michael Early.
Okay. But now I'm always negative. Which one is it, Cousin Jerry?
Man, come on, Jerry.
Come on, Jerry. You're a loyal listener. I am negative when we lose. That's how you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be happy.
I don't know how you can not be negative concerning baseball at this point.
True serum. Look, would I be surprised if they beat Georgia the next two games? No, I would not be surprised.
I would be. True serum. I would be.
I would not be surprised. But am I predicting it? No, I'm not predicting it. By the way, Jerry, have you watched me during the post-game show during the football season? I'm an emotional roller coaster. This man sits next to me.
I do.
What is like sitting next to me in a sporting event?
Let's see. Do you ever see that movie, Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yeah. Different people?
You're the, was his name something, what is his name?
I don't know. Irene.
Bailey Gates. Charlie Bailey Gates. And then I can't remember what his alter ego's name is, but yeah.
I am, anybody who's watched a sporting event with me, I have multiple personalities. That's a fact. I'm either like this, just kind of quiet, watching, not saying a word, not wanting to discuss things with people, or I'm like walking around, like, what the? Or I'm like, yeah, we're going to win the national championship on that play right there.
And how am I?
I know what play's coming. I know exactly.
Well, no, not so much anymore.
Not so much anymore. But that was during the Jimbo years.
Yeah, 2 years ago,
I was about to do this play.
I should have been the defensive coordinator for A&M's opposition.
And then you'll point out trends in the game that like, why are they still doing this? Or good things. Why do they keep giving him the ball?
But for the most part, I think I'm somewhat stoic.
You were very stoic. Like if Alan Cannon was sitting next to me during the game, hey AC, he'd probably like, you got to relax. Because it's like I've had a lot of coffee. Poor Kay Nagley sitting next to us writing notes. And I'm like, but when we're winning, I'm chatty.
Yes.
When we're losing, I'm just.
You're still kind of chatty. It's just.
Angry chat.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, I allow you guys to see the real me. Authentically me. And I am the basket case. I recognize that. I do. I root for these guys no matter what. I love Jason LaViolette. I love Hayden Schott. I love Michael Early. I do. And sometimes when you have relationships with people, you might root for, or not necessarily root, but you might expect better, right? Like, but the reality is this team is at a point where I'm losing. I've already lost hope, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just did the Aggie thing and won the SEC championship, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be surprised if they win more than one more game the rest of this season. I'm thinking after what I've been seeing the last 4 games, and now that Sorrell may be out, I'm not predicting any more wins in Athens.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll get one in Hoover, and then I think it'll be over. That's what I think. I don't want it to be that way, but giving you my honest opinion, that's what I expect.
I had a segment I wanted to do here, but I think we've talked.
Oh, sorry.
No. This is good. I like when we go random. We'll either save it for Billy or I'll just hold it for Monday. So let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Maria, there was a text that caught your attention that made you laugh.
It doesn't say who it's from, but it just says, "Beat the hell out of somebody, please." And I just thought that was really funny.
Yes, but before that, he sent a couple of things in to kind of, he goes, "David, I wonder if the appropriate question might be who improved their stats over last year on the baseball team?" And I don't think we're going to find many. And then stolen bases last year compared to this year will surprise many as well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised they don't do more on the base paths. It seems like they want to play station to station. And I don't know, maybe they're not a really fast team, but when you're struggling sometimes to score, why don't you do some things to try to stay out of double play or just, get things moving. And I don't know, maybe it's because the coach is worried, well, we're going to strike out and run into a double play.
No, they're just not as good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to mention the strikeout.
No, they're just not as. They're not as good.
They're not as good. Well, yeah, that's.
I mean, it's the proof is in the results, and when you watch them,
you always got to remember when you have a great team, and the next year, as good as it looks, you always have to say, yeah, but is the next guy going to be as good as Braden Montgomery? Is the next guy?
Well, that's what you do with all the teams we play, right?
Is the next guy going to be as good as Jackson Appel?
Right.
And a lot of times the answer is going to be no. In fact, typically the answer will be no.
Well, and let's not forget.
Now, sometimes you get, is the next guy going to be better or as good as Ryan Tannehill? And the answer is, hell yeah, he's going to be better because it's Johnny Manziel. Is the next guy going to be better than Thurman Thomas, All-American? Yeah, because the next guy was Barry Sanders. But those are the rarest of situations.
If you go back to the 22 season where they made the College World Series and they were one of the 4 best teams in the country, the next year there was a drop-off, right? Not as significant as this one, but there was a drop-off. You make the College World Series last year, you get so close to winning it all. There has been a drop-off this year. I did expect a drop-off. I personally did. I did not expect this drop-off.
To be off a cliff.
I expected to...
step down from a curve.
To maybe make Omaha. That's how I looked at it.
I thought it was unfair at the beginning of the year to be saying, oh, if he doesn't win a national championship, it's a failure. Why don't we say, why don't we just set our hopes for getting to the College World Series and our expectations for a regional final? But I don't think anybody foresaw not even getting into the playoffs, which, as you mentioned, they still might, but it looks...
So if I said to you, they're going to win 3 more games this year, that would surprise you?
Yes, it would. Sorry, but I got to be honest.
Either 2 in Georgia and 1 at the SEC tournament, or 1 at Georgia and 2 in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, I mean, if they get 3 more wins to me is going to be a surprise. 2 more wins for me is going to be a surprise.
1 more?
I'll figure they'll play somebody in Hoover that they're better than.
Yeah.
And you know what? And I hope I'm wrong. I hope they win their next 2 in Athens. I hope they win tonight and tomorrow. I hope they go on a nice run in Hoover, and I hope they get into the playoffs. I'm not talking about what I'm hoping. I'm talking about what I have come to expect.
Yeah. Football season towards the end. Were you expecting them to win games?
I thought that they would win at South Carolina. And when they didn't, I thought, okay, look, South Carolina is surging. You're on the road against going on the road against anybody in the SEC is difficult.
At night there,
you just had the emotional win over LSU. You gotta refocus. So it was a quote trap game. Okay, I thought you might but I had no vision at all of them losing at Auburn. To me, that losing at Auburn was like a long time, Ags. You might even remember this year. To me, that was like losing at home to Iowa State. It's like Todd Blythe just catching everything. It was like that kind of loss, even though that Iowa State loss was, you never had a chance. What was so frustrating about A&M and all those losses, every one of the losses with a couple of plays that were there to be made, if you make them, you win.
A tackle here, a tackle there.
Here a tackle, there a tackle, everywhere a tackle.
Let's hit a break, OB. Let's come back with Around Aggieland. Maybe some more text messages.
Okay.
We'll be happy. When insurance matters most, who's going to answer your call? That's Rollo Insurance. OB has used them. I use them. Billy, I mean, so many folks in this area have used Rollo Insurance. They're the very best at what they do, and they will give you a personal number to their personal agent, right? So not a call center, not an automated system. They've got over 60 offices in the great state of Texas. The difference is real. Whether it's home, auto, or business, or ranch, start a relationship with experts who put you first. Your agent becomes familiar with your specific situation, providing a customized protection that mass market insurers simply cannot match. That's Rollo Insurance, the Rollo Insurance way. When you need advice or have a claim, you need somebody that you can call immediately. They're the ones that'll take care of you. They'll know your story. The difference is real with Rollo Insurance. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That's 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olsen wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it.
We're back on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
We are.
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. We're about to do Around Aggieland, but I wanted to get to a text. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Maria, what do you have?
Yeah, from UT guy using different names.
Pause. I don't think that's his real name. I think somebody has labeled him that in the system. But
oh, really?
Yeah. So it must be a Texas fan who Texas in acting like he's an Aggie fan, but he's but I don't know. I didn't write it, so maybe some other hosts at the Zone did. Continue.
Yeah. Well, he says that's what happens when you let the players decide on a coach that does not have any head coach experience. It's not Early's fault. It's the uppers in the athletic department for listening to the players that were about to leave if Early wasn't hired.
Let's take a look at that for a quick second. I think we can answer this real quickly. You're not wrong, UT guy using two different names. You're not wrong, but it hasn't worked out yet. Okay. But everybody would have made the same move at that time. You were either going to lose everybody and start fresh, or let's get the gang back together and try it one more time. And I think every person would have done what Trev did in that situation. Most people.
I don't know if they would or not, but I'll say this. I would have. Because, and I said it, you go after Tony Vitello, go for the best.
Yep.
You didn't get him. Okay, but you made a run. You tried.
Yep.
Okay, it didn't work out. So what's my next move? It's one thing if you're getting, the best coach that just won the national championship, all that. But then I'm saying, well, I've got a team that, at least on paper, looks like a national championship contender. And that's not coming from TexAgs. That came from Baseball America and Perfect Game and all those people. Everybody thought, well, A&M be number one. So I thought, hey, the best thing to do is to give the guy a chance. Now, Clemson once was in a similar situation and gave a football coach a chance. And it worked out incredibly. Well, it didn't work out for A&M. But I would say, what if they had the same situation this year? Because but you had hired a different coach. And maybe you had the same situation without the players here.
Yep.
And people would be saying, Trev Alberts blew it because this team isn't good and he let this guy, he let Early go.
Yep.
So he was in a tough spot.
Around Aggieland, presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. The website is normangstatebank.com. Callie Garner, Waco's finest.
Oh, thanks. I don't know if that's a compliment.
Well, you were just there for a few hours, so you're not from Waco.
Multiple hours.
Yeah.
It was a long day.
What's going on in Around Aggieland?
Starting off in Waco, the Texas A&M women's tennis team is headed back to the Final Four. The second-ranked Aggies are in the NCAA semifinals for the second straight season after taking down number 10 Tennessee yesterday 4-2 in the quarterfinals. A&M dropped the doubles point early but came back swinging. They took the first two single sets from Nicole Kieran and Mary Stoyana and to give the Aggies a 2-1 lead, and then it was Mia Kupris who sealed the deal for the Aggies. She rallied behind in the second set and clinched the match in a tiebreaker. The Aggies will face the number 3 Michigan in the national semifinals tomorrow at 1 p.m. in Waco. The road to Oklahoma City begins for the top-ranked Texas A&M softball team. Today, the number 1 overall seed Aggies are set to open the Bryan College Station Regional this afternoon against St. Francis with first pitch at 2:30, and that game will be streamed on the SEC Network. A&M enters the NCAA tournament with a 45-9 record and the top national seed for the first time in program history. This is also the Aggies' 35th tournament appearance and their 23rd in the row, which is one of the longest active streaks in the country. The winner of today's matchup will advance to face either Liberty or Marist in Saturday's regional semifinal. On the baseball front, the A&M baseball team jumped out to an early lead but couldn't hang on to it last night in the series opener at number 10, Georgia. Caden Sorrell gave the Aggies an early 3-0 lead with a 3-run homer in the first inning, which was his 12th of the season. But Georgia responded in a big way and put up 7 runs in the third inning to take control. The Bulldogs went on to win it 10-6. Caden Kent added a solo home run for the Aggies in the 6th, but it wasn't enough to complete the comeback against the Bulldogs. Game 2 of the series continues today in Athens with first pitch set for 5 p.m. The men's golf team is headed back to the NCAA championship. The 12th-ranked Aggies secured a runner-up finish at the Auburn Regional, shooting 4 under in the final to close out of 5 under in the tournament. A&M finished second behind the host Auburn, which will now advance to the NCAA championship for the 4th year in a row and the 6th time in the last 7 regionals. And that championship tees off next weekend in California. And lastly, Texas A&M track and field is off to a strong start at the SEC championships in Kentucky. On day 1 yesterday, Sophia Yakushina led the heptathlon for the top 5 finishes in all 4 events and capped by a win in the 200 meter. And Mackenzie Fairchild scored A&M's first points with a season-best javelin throw for 4th place. And on the track, Sam Whitmarsh and Lucas Santorum advanced to the men's 800-meter final, while Jasmine Montgomery and Cameron Dixon did the same in the women's 200 meters. In the 400-meter hurdles, Jaqueline Scott ran a personal best 48.85, which was the top time of the prelims, and Bryce McCrae also moved on to the finals in that event. The Aggies are ranked number 2 in the nation on the men's side and number 4 on the women's side, and the outdoor meet wraps up tomorrow evening.
Awesome stuff, Khalida. Thank you very much. OB,
Yeah.
So let's close out with this. We're going to spend a lot more time on softball coming up because we're going to have Amari Harper talking about the regional, the season, everything that has happened in between. So it'll be a great conversation. But I believe in that coach. I believe in that team. And it goes back to something we said earlier. That team will beat you different ways.
I expect them to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be an easy advance. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they run rule 2 opponents.
Just get this team to Oklahoma City. I want to see the matchup against Oklahoma.
Whoever they play, I hope they spank them like they spanked Texas.
After this very challenging sports calendar year for the big 3 sports, basketball was good, but maybe not as good as I wanted them to be, but very good, right? It'd be really great to have a couple national championships, maybe 3. Come on, track.
Come on, track.
Come on, women's tennis.
Come on, women's tennis. Come on,
men's
softball.
Golf. Come on, men's golf. Let's do it. Obi, thank you, sir.
Bet.
When we come back on TexAgs Live, Amari Harper, followed by the baseball bunch, followed by Billy Liucci. That in your text messages, 979-693-1150 is TexAgs Live. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, let's do this. Let's talk some softball. Amari Harper came to the studio after the show yesterday, and we interviewed her for a few minutes. It was a great conversation. I think you're going to like it a lot. So here it comes. Amari Harper on TexAgs Live. Welcome back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for a Texas Aggies United interview. Amari Harper in studio. Talk a little Aggie softball. Kay Nagley is joining me. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So I feel like you've done a lot of stuff with TexAgs. I feel like I know you, but today is the first time I've gotten to chat with you. And it's everything that people told me about you is true. How much fun has this year been? Fun / I got to stay intense for this, what's about to happen kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think it's been so much fun. This has been a dream of mine, obviously, forever. So living out this with this team especially has just been insane. I think the intensity of it comes with it, so it's good, but I think we've prepared for the intensity of it. So at this point, it's just going out to play softball.
Okay, let me follow that up because every interview I do, I bring up Trisha because teams always take on the personality of the head coach, but I feel like this team is that. Intense, fun, like there's a lot of that, but like when it's time to work, it's time to work. And you know Trisha better than anybody, like that's how it is, right?
Yes, 1,000%. I think we carry that definitely within our practices. Like we like to have fun, but obviously when it's time to get our reps in, time to study film, all that stuff, there's a seriousness to it. But at the end of the day, once it comes to the game, that's the fun stuff. That's where we go out and just play softball, go out and perform and do what we have to do. So I think obviously the behind the scenes has become very serious, but when we're performing and doing what we love, it's all fun.
I want to talk about the SEC tournament because y'all had just such a successful week. It was ridiculous. Speaking of SEC tournament, that Texas game, you were 3 for 3 with 6 RBIs. You were just killing it out there. Just what went into that game, especially knowing that you've played that team multiple times and it's gone either way a lot of the times. How nice was it to get it done then?
I think it was obviously a lot of us from team last year, a little bit of a lick back type thing. It wasn't, obviously we took the loss very personal and we're trying to get back to where we were last year and then obviously move forward with that. So I think we just took this game as just go out and show them what we know how to do and how we know how to perform, and we'll let the results be the results. But I think we just went in we took everything that game. We just went all for it. We didn't care what happened. We just wanted to play the best softball, and we did. And yeah, that was the best performance I think we've had this year, and we just didn't care. We just kept going. We were relentless offensively, which was great. I think 1 through 9. So it just showed what we can do if we just all stick to the course and just do our thing.
Yeah. Do you understand the gravity of why that's so important to our fans right now? I'm just going to remind you of that, right? Like they beat us in football.
Yes.
They beat us 2 out of 3 in basketball. The baseball series didn't go the BAS that may be out there was like, no, not softball too. And you guys went and beat them down. Like we got you, Aggies. Like that to me. Like could you guys feel that? Like we needed it. You guys needed it, but we needed it.
I think definitely the 12th man needed it. I think us personally, we needed it. Obviously, we know seeing them in postseason again at the World Series, like it's probably not going to be the same mindset. We're just for them, so it's going to be a little bit of a fight, and we're going to have to continue that regardless of who we play. But I think that specific game, we were like, we just need to go out and just do it all, do everything, and just nonstop and just have fun with it. And I think that's exactly what we did.
Okay, let me bring this up because I think it's interesting. You're batting 407 on the season, right? But at the SEC tournament, you batted
800.
800. You doubled. Like that doesn't happen when it gets harder. You doubled it when it got harder. Like, did it feel like a zone?
A little bit. I think I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I tried not to take myself as seriously in the tournament and just go hit. Because I think when we think too much about it, then you start getting in your head, then all these things start to happen. So I think for me, I was like, just see ball, hit ball. At this point, that's at the end of the season, that's all you need to do.
You've done the work, right?
Yeah, so I think that's what kind of helped me get to that point.
And then taking down Texas, the next day you were going to face, the Oklahoma. That has been the powerhouse program all these years. How much were y'all looking forward to that? And then just kind of take us through the process of finding out the game wasn't going to happen and co-champs and all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were all looking forward to it. We were all prepared. Like, we knew that was the end goal of the tournament. So obviously we all had our sights set on that. But Yeah, it was a bummer. But obviously that we have a lot of softball ahead of us, so I think the coaches made the right decision for both teams because we're both good. We both want to be in the postseason for a long time. We both want to be probably fighting for that national championship instead of the SEC championship, so that's completely understandable. But obviously for us, it sucks a little bit because we really just wanted to go out and see how that would have ended performance-wise, but we got the SEC championship split, which was good. Obviously, it's first time for us, so I think you kind of take what you can with that and just take the win. But obviously, once it gets to that postseason time, then we just want to see what happens because we obviously didn't get that opportunity. So,
how has your role kind of changed leadership-wise here in your few years with Texas A&M?
I think I've always been very quiet in my leadership role. I don't say much, and if I do, it's like, whoa. I'm like, who knew she could say that? Like, it's very like I don't say it often. I don't say much, but when I do, it's just kind of the one main thing that I'm just going to leave it at that. But I think it's become more of a role on the field and performance-wise, and just showing like our freshmen, like just go out and play. Even our sophomores that are still kind of learning and staying in the game, like just go play softball. Don't care about the outside noise, even from coaches, teammates, all that stuff. Like your own personal thing is just go play the game. So take that with each game, each opportunity, each at bat. So I think that's kind of been where my leadership is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about something you put on Twitter. It was in response to SC coaching, so just put little Amari is losing.
Yeah.
How, is this what you envisioned whenever you're a young softball player, you dream about, one day going to OKC, and this program has the talent and depth to get there, especially just with the SEC championship in the books. Like, how proud would your younger self be of you right now?
Oh my God, she'd be freaking out. I think for me, she had no idea she'd be an Aggie because I'm not from here. So A&M was very out of my reach when I was younger. I had really no idea. You kind of grow up to idolize the popular schools at the time, UCLA, Oklahoma, Florida, all that stuff. So I think for me in an A&M jersey, it's just so awesome, and we're creating a new legacy, and we obviously want it to move forward in the next few years and let obviously younger girls kind of idolize us and then see what that turns out to be in the next couple years. But it's been awesome, and I'm just so excited. Like, even hosting regionals, super regionals, like that's a dream. So just take it for what it is and just play the game.
Why did you pick A&M?
Because I loved the culture of A&M. And for me, obviously, softball is not a livelihood. It's not a long-time thing for me. It's just what I get to do while I'm getting my degree. So I think the idea of having my Aggie ring, the Aggie network, like it's going to help me long-term. So that kind of drew me to A&M. It's not something that a lot of colleges have with the traditions. And obviously, like the 12th man, that's something that I had never seen growing up in California. Because you have UCLA, USC, but it's not. Those fan bases are not like this one at all. So it was incredible, and I just loved the atmosphere.
You know why that's refreshing to hear? Because we did a whole segment on the show earlier, on Thursday's show, about people picking schools sometimes for the wrong reasons in this new era of NIL and transfer portal, and you picked it for what I would want all my kids to pick their school for, for what is it going to do, for what does that brand do for me as an adult? Yeah, I understand the NIL component. Don't get me wrong, but I think you wanted to be an Aggie. You want to take advantage of the Aggie spirit. To me, that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to talk about some of the underclassmen on this team because they've been ridiculous this year too, and it's so cool to see how the team has come together just on all aspects, right? How much do you think this freshman and underclassmen, even like Maya's just a sophomore, have grown into this mentality that y'all have adapted this year? Because it's been so cool to see.
Yeah, I think they've really taken everything that Coach Ford has put on the table for them and just ran with it. And I think like KK and Frankie and Kelsey, like even some of the freshmen who maybe don't get as many opportunities and kind of just, when they're given to it, step into the role and they outperform everyone on the field. I think they're doing amazing. Maya obviously is outperforming literally everyone, anyone in the SEC, but she's doing amazing. She's just doing her job. She's doing what she loves. So I think it's become very easy for her to just stick to one mindset and then just kind of perform how she knows how to and how she's always been able to. But I think honestly, all of our underclassmen, they're learning at a young age what the next few years are going to look like, and I think that's going to be great for them long term.
Amari, you guys are the overall number one team, and the expectations are to go deep. But do you all play better when, because I feel like that's the vibe I get from the team, like when people kind of doubt you, and even as the number one team, they're not, some people are talking about you winning a national championship, especially locally, but like it's still about some of the other programs, right? It's
Yes,
still,
yeah.
So in a way, like, yeah, we got this is great, but they still don't buy us, guys. We got to prove something.
Yeah, I think we obviously lean into that grittiness and everything. But for us, if you're going to doubt us, that's fine. But don't doubt us when we're at the stage that we told you we're going to be at in the next couple of weeks, whether that's after winning the regional or winning super regionals and then making it to the World Series. Like, if that's our path and we're going to stick to it, then we're going to get there. But if you're going to doubt us, that's fine. Look to the other teams. Do it. Like, please. Look to the other teams, and then when we're on the same stage as them, then you can compare and contrast and do all that stuff. So I think for us, it's like, let us worry about ourselves, and you can worry about what you want to do. But once we're on the same stage, looking at the scores, looking at the stats, then you can do what you will with it.
There you go.
Yeah.
One of the things I've noticed, I've gotten to talk to a lot of y'all throughout the year. I mean, literally from day one. And I've seen Emily Kennedy grow here and whatnot. And one thing I have just completely noticed across the board, whether I talk to Trisha or y'all, is you're just so confident. You're so confident in your ability, and you play like it too. Just why do you, what does that come from?
I just think it's the name of the game. Even if you're not confident, like, fake it till you make it. Nobody knows. So I think just go out with that fakeness if you have to. And then if that just becomes a reality for some people, I think for us, we kind of just lean into the fact of we've been in these hard positions before. So I think we can get out of anything. We can work through anything as long as we're all on the same page, same routine, same mindset. So I think it's just sticking to that, sticking to the routine of what we know. And that just becomes confidence within itself.
Amari, hope you do this more often, all right? You can host this show, by the way. You're pretty good. For somebody who's quiet, like you ain't that quiet. You can do the show anytime you want, okay? All right, that's going to do it with our interview with Amari here on Texas Aggies United on TexAgs Live. We'll see you in a bit. By the way, I think Amari will be taking my job here very soon, whenever she wants, because she was awesome. We appreciate her here on the program. Let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Maria, you want to tell the folks what I did to you?
David pretended that we went on air and I wasn't ready. So
during that recording, right? Like we're listening to it in the background and, we're just chit-chatting, talking about the next segment and, making fun of people. And all of a sudden I go, let's go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Maria, what do you have for us? And her stage fright was fantastic. But now you are prepared for whatever we were going to talk about. So what do you have for us, Maria?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. We're actually not on the air right now, right?
Yes, we are.
Oh, okay.
Continuing with softball, 7 Aggies from Texas A&M softball team earned NFCA All-Region Central Honors, which was announced yesterday. Mac Barbara, KK DeMint, Emily Kennedy, and Coco Woolley garnered first-team recognition, while Ali Enright and Maya Perez earned second-team honors. And finally, Kennedy Powell was named to the third team.
All right. Great stuff there. Let's do this. Let's hit a break. When we come back, the baseball bunch. And in the baseball bunch, I'm going to ask them some softball questions. Sorry, guys, we're going to do it. All right? And I know that Bronny's been watching, Clendenin's been watching, Zane's been watching. So we'll do a little bit of both here on the baseball bunch here on TexAgs Live. Right now, we're going to keep water local. You know that water is very important, obviously. And I'm talking about the local water with Brazos and Robertson County. It's not just something that comes out of your tap, something you just drink in a bottle. It's the lifeblood of everything we love about home. And right now, out-of-town interests are eyeing our water, threatening our community's future. So I want you to consider helping out with Keep Water Local, a group of neighbors fighting to protect what matters most. If you care about this community, and I know that you do, it's not just about the water. It's about preserving life. It's about preserving the farms. It's about preserving business and the Aggie spirit that makes this place so special. Losing control of water means losing the future. Want to make a difference? Head to keepwaterlocal.org. Get involved. Let's keep our water right here where it belongs, local. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program, Troubadour Festival, returns to Aggie Park this weekend, Saturday, May 17th, for the ultimate Texas barbecue and country music experience. You can sample smoked meats from 30 of the best barbecue joints in Texas in an awesome lineup that includes Shane Smith and the Saints.
Love smoked meats.
Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen.
I loved smoked meats and love them still.
Hold My Beer and Watch. You love beer?
No, I don't really, but I do like to Hold My Beer and Watch this tour, and they've done some albums together that's like kind of coincided with that tour. And I'm a big fan of Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, as well as Shane Smith. And guess what, Mr. Nuño?
You're going this weekend.
I'll be there on Saturday.
He's Ryan Brauninger. He's part of the baseball bunch. He's Richard Zane. He's part of the baseball bunch. He's Scott Clendenin. He's part of the baseball bunch. Let's talk some baseball.
Do we have to?
We do have to. It is the...
We're running out of these.
Yeah, well, potentially, right?
Yes, potentially. I mean, I guess we're always, you can look at it, if you want to be glass half full, hey, we're always running out of these.
Well, the way
as soon as the season starts, we're running out of them.
The way I phrased it was, I don't expect them to go to the NCAA tournament, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won the SEC tournament, just because that's the kind of, I'm saying it, would I be surprised? Okay, maybe a little surprised, but I feel like that's just the Aggie thing to do. Like, it looks bleak, we're going to give you a chance, and then we're going to lose.
I mean, I'd be shocked if they won the SEC tournament. With where their pitching's at, I mean, we've known it all year. The bullpen's been so inconsistent up and down, and you haven't had any reliable arms.
Yesterday was good.
I mean, yesterday they were good.
With 3 guys that haven't pitched a bunch, and Freshcorn hasn't pitched well.
Freshcorn, fantastic. But, like, to get through, it's going to take 5 wins in Hoover for them to get into the NCAA tournament with the automatic bid. Like, at what point in this year has this bullpen and this pitching staff shown you they can cover 5 games in 6 days?
Okay, you've talked me out of it. My point more was,
this is half empty.
Whenever I give up on them, they make it interesting, and I've given up on them again. I guess that's my point.
Well, my issue is not that I don't care which fans have given up on them, and neither should the kids. My issue is that I think the players look like, and this is hard for me to say, because I know what goes into a season. I know what dugouts are like. I know what clubhouses are like, and I'm not there. We're not in Athens, so I can't speak 100% to this. The body language yesterday that I was able to observe on TV was awful. Awful, awful, awful. And I know that I saw that with my own eyes on Saturday and Sunday against Missouri.
Well, I didn't see it Saturday and Sunday in Missouri, and I saw the opposite last week, and I understand they're not playing for the stakes in America East that A&M's playing for, Aggie baseball in the SEC. But body language does play into that, and I saw a team play extra innings against the eventual conference champion and eliminate the 2 teams that were seated higher than them. And I could see the body language, and I could see the belief, and all those kind of things that are tangible to college athletes. And especially when you're talking about playing a diamond sport where one person normally can't affect the game to get a win or a loss. It takes the group as a whole to do that. And the shots into the dugout, you looked at that and you were like, this does not look like they flushed last week against Missouri. I think that is Missouri hangover coming back on you, because you were on the upswing and then you cratered, and now the residual is still there.
Well, and that's an issue. And one of the things that I think has been a problem for this team, it hasn't rolled in the positive direction very much, but however it starts rolling, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to continue that way. And I don't know, you think about that stretch they went on where they were playing good baseball, but it can switch so quickly where it can start rolling downhill and they can't get it back. And we've seen that far too often. I did, and I don't want to single anybody out, and I'm not going to, but I saw a couple of players and coaches in the dugout yesterday. I'm like, hey, they're competing. Like, these guys are getting after it. And then I saw more than I probably should have. I said, I got real questions about where their intent and where their give a crap level is right now.
And I think that, that's one of the things about, young players that you have got to coach through.
You've got to have them and leadership amongst themselves raise it up. And, the crazy thing is, yesterday they're in the late innings again. You're thinking that your pitching staff has given you what you've needed, a bridge to get to the point where you can get yourself back into the game. And, all of a sudden the strikeout on a night where Georgia had the most strikeouts they've had all year. They put in a guy who's their closer, and he punches 5. And some of those weren't competitive. And you're just like, you got to the lip of the cup again, and it poured out instead of you taking it.
The biggest issue offensively all year has been swing decisions and controlling the strike zone. I mean, it reared its ugly head again yesterday where everybody will look at what happened with 2 strikes, and there were a lot of 2-strike chases. And once again, the opposing team in the other dugout really competed well with 2 strikes. And Georgia, for the first 6 innings, they had 3 swings and misses total.
And more home runs than swings and misses.
So, and look, they're really good in their ballpark, but I'm not insinuating that they're doing anything nefarious here. What I'm saying is we saw that same thing last week against Missouri, where Missouri is competing with 2 strikes and having consecutive 2-strike wins and consecutive at-bats, and we're not seeing that out of A&M. And I think if I had to boil the offensive woes of this season into one thing, it's strike zone awareness and also pitch recognition. I would tie those together.
In the prior leadership, the last few years under the old regime, who was an extension of the coaching staff? What player, was there a player that you would say was the leader of emotions, of baseball from a player perspective? Was there somebody, and is that missing this year?
I mean, last year I can think of Teddy Burton. I can think of Jackson Appel, guys who had been around the college game for a long time.
Yeah, but and this team has that. And I thought early in the season we talked about who's going to emerge as the leader, and I thought Wyatt Hensler could do it. And I think Wyatt tried, and I think Wyatt has the respect of the entire team and clubhouse. But it takes some buy-in from the other guys in there, and for whatever reason, I think what you're hinting at, there has been a clear lack of player-led initiatives on this team. And I think if Mike Early could go back, and I don't want to get into the coaching discussion. I really don't. If that's going to happen, we'll have plenty of time to talk about it. But one thing that I think he's done, and I'll keep this short, I think if he could go back and change something about the fall and his lead up into the spring, I think he probably trusted these players too much. Mm-hmm. And in the end, it all falls on him, right? So I think maybe he gave them too many freedoms on and off the field.
Yep.
Within how they interact with the game, within how they interact with, I look at the fall and everybody was like, well, you're missing Grahovic, you're missing Schott, you're missing Laviolette, Prager didn't throw. Well, Prager's been the best of that bunch, and he's even been a tick down of what he normally is, right? Josh Stewart didn't throw in the fall, and then he gets injured. Grahovic obviously gets injured, and I'm not saying that them sitting out the fall has anything to do with that, but what I'm saying is that maybe fall baseball really does matter, and participation in fall baseball really does matter.
Well, and I think that when you are trying to determine your team, that competition does matter. I think that, you've had guys that might have been the last person, and this is not just the last 3 years, but, let's go back to when Rob Childress sits here. The last guy to stick on the team turned out to be an All-American twice. Okay? You had a pitcher that was like, you're the last guy. What are you going to do to get better? And you turn in an All-American twice. They took what they learned and didn't learn about themselves in the fall and applied it to the spring. So, yeah, I think the hindsight is going to be what did we not emphasize or not emphasize? Did we do anything health-wise that led to any of this? And it really doesn't. Your hamate bone is going to break. It doesn't have anything to do with anything with a bat and a ball other than a repetitive motion task. And, it's just been some of that in the position last night. Again, You wonder if your guy, who has been your best hitter since he returned, is going to be able to play this whole weekend, the whole season. That changes a lot about this baseball team.
So I asked this at the top of the, and we probably should hit a break here, but I'll just ask it anyway. I asked this at the top of the show with OB. Who has met or exceeded expectations this year?
I was listening to y'all's conversation. I think the name y'all forgot was probably Terrence Keel the second.
Yeah,
we said it.
Okay.
Yeah,
he wasn't. He didn't come up immediately. Sorrell for sure. Terrence Keel's met expectations. I think
Terrence Keel has exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
I would even put. I mean, Ben Royo not running out of the box last night was, and he was yanked, and he should have been yanked. And I think Ben would probably sit up here and say, "Yeah, I should. I don't need to be doing that."
Yep.
But I would say Ben Royo has exceeded expectations.
That's a guy they didn't even expect to play this year.
I think Hensler has met expectations.
Yes.
I mean, it's still coming from, even with the success the older Ivy players have had come into the SEC. He's met expectations, been out there every day, done his job defensively. But who in the pitching staff? That's where you get into a little bit more of a question.
Weston Moss has been better.
I think Lampkin's met.
Lampkin has been close.
Yeah.
And Miles Patton's been close.
I think Lampkin probably doesn't meet expectations because of what we saw from him down the stretch of 2024.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Patton's been close. Moss has been close.
Caden Kent has met expectations, no?
I thought he'd hit for a higher average. He's just going through these big dips up and down, and obviously he's added more thump to his game, so maybe that is like the progression of Caden Kent. I think he's been fine, especially defensively.
Yeah, defensively, I think he's exceeded expectations to come in and be an everyday shortstop.
But of the core players from last year's team that we expected to help, has be more than help. Has anybody
core players from last year's team?
I'm talking about Prager,
Jace, and
Sorrell.
Sorrell.
Sorrell has exceeded.
Lavalette.
It's just unfortunate. Sorrell's. I mean, we don't have this confirmed, but that looks like a hamate bone break, and that's going to keep him out for the remainder of whatever the season is.
Yep. But Jace is not. No. And Prager hasn't.
No.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I don't know. Like, I don't know if it tarnishes their legacy because I hate to even talk about that in the moment. Like, I think you figure out the legacies of players the further you get away from it. And so I don't think we need to have that discussion just yet either. But like watching Prager come off the mound yesterday, like I was just kind of gutted, like kind of sick to my stomach because he is such a quality kid. And look, Jace is too. Jace has been nothing but an outstanding representative of this university since the day he stepped foot on campus. And it's just sometimes baseball stinks, and baseball has stunk for it hasn't stunk. They haven't been awful. But compared to what they thought they were going to be and what everybody was kind of anticipating, sometimes the game of baseball, it doesn't care about any of that. The game of baseball always wins, and sometimes it humbles you, or not sometimes, it will humble you a lot, and sometimes it flat out is rotten and it stinks.
Both Jace Lavalette and Ryan Prager are going to be Texas A&M Athletic Hall of Famers.
No question.
No doubt.
This is going to ruffle some feathers. Here we go. The signs were here talk.
Why even read that?
Just because I like to get you mad.
I mean, okay.
Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Attention business owners, if you're ready to take your operation to the next level, let Caldwell Country Chevrolet do that for you. They've expanded their selection of commercial vehicles to meet your every need. They have service body trucks. They have flatbed trucks. They have medium-duty trucks. You can, whatever you're looking for, they can handle that job for you. They've got the muscle for your business demands. They've been doing that for a long, long time. They're a newly designated business elite dealer. They understand what it takes to keep your company moving forward. And not every commercial vehicle purchase, well, all of them do come, I'm reading all over the place, come with that new legendary free oil change for life because they believe in supporting local business. Remember, it's a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryant to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals to make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them. 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And here's another thing. They're going to be at the Troubadour Festival this weekend. We'll have a booth there. Go say hi. Tell them TexAgs sent you by. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, the baseball bunch. All right, guys, Lampkin, we talked about him a moment ago. Big start I don't even know where I want to go with it because I think the moods are so down. But let's just talk about Lampkin and an opportunity, what he can do to jumpstart something for this series, Scott.
Don't let Georgia raise your pitch count, get some outs with 2 strikes. I tell you, there is no way you can pitch to that ballpark. The home run down the line that I don't even think it goes out in the short fence at Olsen Field. I don't know if you can pitch to that ballpark and count on the ball staying in the field of play for either of these teams. I think they're gonna hit. You just have got to keep players off base in front of them when it does happen. And the team that does the best at that will have success. Now, Lampkin and Patton are 2 guys that don't give up a bunch of free base runners. So, you'll have to earn your way on. But at what point in time last night there was one single and everything else in the game had been a home run, one single on the double that Caden Kent hit, and everything else was a home run. He has got to limit base runners, no free base runners to give his team a chance. Because I think they're going to still hit.
To Ryan Prager's credit last night, he didn't walk or hit a batter. They were all base hits. Georgia earned what they got in the first, second, and then the 7-run third. To Scott's point, it's hard to pitch to that ballpark. It's also hard to pitch to that team in that ballpark. The home and road splits are pretty wild. They had 3 swings and misses against Ryan Prager last night. That's pretty insane. As far as Justin Lampkin goes, he's going to have a tough opponent tonight because Georgia's pitching back, right? Is it Brian Curley, the man's first name? He's their Friday night ace. They went with an opener last night. So you're seeing the Friday night guy on a typical Friday night. So it's a good barometer for Justin Lampkin to see just how much he has improved and is he meeting expectations. We talked about the last segment. So we'll get to see, just how far Justin Lampkin has come. We'll get to see just how good he can be. He's going to have to be fantastic. We said this, I believe it was yesterday, you and I, David. He's going to have to be near perfect. The entire club's going to have to be near perfect. For A&M to save this season with however little time they have left, the entire team, 1 through 9 pitchers and the offense, are going to have to be near perfect, and it's going to have to start with Justin Lampkin this evening.
Yeah, I agree with both.
All right. Could you guys see a scenario where if A&M were to drop this game, they reconsider who pitches Sunday, or no, to kind of restack the deck for the SEC tournament?
Not a bad idea, but you'd probably have to bullpen Sunday, and then you're looking at the odds of you winning that game go way down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think you can throw away an SEC win at this point, or attempting to get an SEC win. So, if the goal is still to get to 14, you need now 2 this weekend and then 2 in the tournament. If you get swept this weekend, you need 4 in the tournament. That's a lot to ask, even if on a rested pitching staff, just because the grind of playing that SEC, the SEC caliber competition for 4 days straight, and if you lose, you're done.
So is the math to get into the postseason, which we don't know an exact number, but you'd say 4 more wins?
I just think with the RPI
minimum,
hit, the RPI hit you took with Missouri is really hurting you. And that's why I said it was UCLA, Rose Bowl, Appalachian State to me. That was the baseball version of it. It has ramifications for the rest of your season.
They're currently 61 in the RPI as we sit here this morning. A win today and a win tomorrow against number 1 RPI Georgia would help you some, right? It's not going to
it's going to zoom you the same way Tennessee did because it's on the road.
It's not going to completely outdo what happened.
No, but I'm saying,
Missouri.
but the bonus points you get from beating a team that high in the RPI will almost completely counteract what happened at home. Almost. Because losses at home, wins on the road against quad 1 plus teams are still more valuable than losses at home. So you can make a big run into that. And the single elimination in the early part of the SEC tournament, if we take the generality of what the SEC tournament used to be, you will get to a point in time in the SEC tournament where teams that are already established are not going to extend themselves knowing that they're already in the next week, that their seeding is protected. Okay? I talked about it this week already. The run that A&M did to get into the tournament when they had to go to Oregon State, and Daniel Mingden had gone to be the Friday night starter and had dominated and then was very good, but he had to go twice in the SEC tournament. When they got to Oregon, he was not the same. He did not have the same game in the first game of that tournament, and that was a big surprise because he had beaten everybody in the SEC. So I just think that, there's a point in time where maybe because you're playing with that, we have to win this thing out, that you might get an advantage there. But in the early going on this tournament, the first 2 rounds, everybody that you're going to see in the first 2 rounds is playing to improve what they're going to do in the postseason. And I think I agree. I don't think you can give away one game at thinking that you can go win 4 in that tournament, even though it might get a little bit easier as it goes along. Because is LSU going to bring a guy back on short rest? Is Arkansas going to extend somebody that they have to have the next week when they're in the NCAA tournament? We don't know how they'll react in the single elimination format.
I agree with Scott. I don't think you pitch back. I don't think you move Patton. I think each of these wins, regardless of what happens today, Saturday is still an important ball game that you have to have.
It's Sunday. Winning Sunday on the road at RPI Georgia may do more for you than anything you're going to do in the SEC tournament, RPI wise.
We keep saying Sunday, but
Saturday,
the last game of the regular season. Yep.
Does yesterday's power, if you will, the 3 home runs, I don't know why I put it in quotes, did anything happen yesterday offensively that gives you...
No.
Okay. Because the 17 strikeouts?
And
the lack of walks? So
strikeouts don't matter if you walk and slug. Okay? Well, they slugged okay yesterday. They had the 3 home runs, and then Kent had a double, right? Everything else was singles, and they didn't walk. And they didn't walk because their swing decisions are outrageous, quite frankly. Swinging at pitches in the batter's box with them, and then taking breaking balls with 2 strikes in the middle of the plate. There was a strikeout for Jace, for instance, late in the game where it's like he ended up punching out the changeup the kid threw was really good, like unhittable changeup. And I understand you swinging and missing that one, but the pitch before, you got a center cut breaking ball you didn't even move at. So to me, Jace is like, that's just a microcosm of what I'm talking about with pitch recognition issues that we've seen all year. And there's something that happened, and I don't know what it is, because they were so good with it last year, and I know that their processes in the cage in terms of tracking pitches hasn't changed. So to me, it's something in the brain, the mentality of individual hitters and the collective group of offensive players.
And it is at every level. And it was said a long time before the previous coaching staff here, if you take strikes and you swing at balls, you're slumping. Talking to my kids about that since they were 10. All right. That is where you get yourself in trouble. And they got away from it. And last night, and it reared its head in a big, big way. And it was like, if I get the ball in the air, it's got a chance to go out. Yes, in that ballpark, if you get the ball in the air, it has a chance to go out. But you can't get away from everything else that, hey, I'll pass the bat to the next guy and see if the pitches that they have to use to attack them gives them a chance to get the ball in the air.
Well, the lineup gets a lot shorter now with no cadence.
Oh, no doubt.
And, interesting thing to research, and I was actually talking to Dawson in the production room about this. I'm interested. I don't know the answer to this. And, lineup construction, I think, does play a part in run production. So where is A&M run production-wise since they removed Terrence Keel II from the leadoff spot?
Yep.
You shared the stats I sent you earlier, right?
Yep.
We know they strike out less this year per game than they
felt
did
like
last
more,
year.
But it was wrong. I was wrong.
They set a program record for strikeouts over a season last year. They were the best team ever. They struck out the most. The slugging is down 64 points, and they walk. It's 1 less walk per game this year than last year.
So that's not a terrible number over the course of a season.
Of a year.
It does make a difference when you don't slug.
Yep.
Right? And they have had that small window where they were on every baseball. And that was probably a 4 weeks, 5 week span between SEC games and midweeks where they were. And like that, at that moment, in that little section of the season, we were all talking about, okay, the offense has found itself. This is what we expected. They're walking, they're slugging, the ball's leaving the ballpark. And Scotty, I think you made a good point. When did it all change? Last weekend against Missouri? After that third inning, when I think they went into that series, they went into that game thinking heavy north wind, ball's going to stay in the ballpark. And then through 3 innings, they'd hit 4 homers. And everybody's going, hey, we can get the ball in the air and it's going to go. And then it completely deteriorated and plummeted after that. Yesterday against Georgia, if we get the ball in the air, it's going to go.
Right.
But it's not enough. They're not doing enough still.
Let's hit a break here. We'll come back on the final segment with the baseball bunch. Bird Dog, where hunters and landowners thrive. If you're looking for premium hunting access, or if you own land and you want to maximize the potential, the earning potential, let Bird Dog be the solution for you. They're an Aggie-owned company passionate about connecting hunters with exceptional experiences through hunting and also through fishing. Think of them as an Airbnb for the hunting community, but now they offer much, much more. As I mentioned, fishing is one of the things that they offer. Hunters can book their opportunities on 60-plus partnered ranches, but the landowners are expanding their services to help you maximize that ranch profitability. They have increased revenue for you through hunting and also tax benefit aggregation. Also, some of their clients are making an extra $100 to $500 per acre of land. So if you have land, reach out to Bird Dog. If you want to hunt, reach out to Bird Dog. If you want to go for a great fishing experience, reach out to Bird Dog. From first-time hunters, first-time fishermen, to seasoned outdoorsmen, Bird Dog is committed to preserving that hunting tradition and optimizing that value. Check out the website, birddogit.com. That is birddogit.com. Final segment of the baseball bunch here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Bronny, what are you looking out for the rest of the series?
Just competitive nature. Like, show me like you're fighting for this thing. That's it.
Does that take a player?
It's hard. It'll be hard for me to observe from my television screen.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm looking for.
But can it be one of the leaders on the team? Like, hey guys, like
It's too late for that.
Too late.
This has got to be look yourself in the mirror and how do you like? Are you a winning player or not? And how much are you willing to fight when the chips are down individually, not collectively? I think this is a look in the mirror at yourself and determine that.
Richard?
Same thing as Bronny, obviously. Something different from the competitive nature and just the fire and the
I'd like to see
dugout and on
Terrence
the
Gill hit
field.
leadoff, not to cut you off. We did look that up during the break. Massive difference in run production. I would like to see Terrence Gill hit leadoff.
Something's got to be different. Different lineup would help. And then, man, it's got to start with Justin Lampkin today. Justin Lampkin's got to be his best self.
Let them hit solo homers.
Well, and the other thing is, and looking right now, Ryan Prager has been susceptible for the home run this year, even before last night. Lampkin and Patton have not. Even Lampkin's given up 9, Patton's given up 7. They've hit 14 as a team. Prager gave up 14 before last night. They've got to keep the ball down. Lampkin's numbers, other than wins and losses, that's the number that jumps out at you. Batting average against and less home runs, that leads, and less doubles than any of the other starting pitchers.
He's been their best guy all year.
Lampkin can go out and change everything today. That's a lot to put on him, but the best of Lampkin, even in that ballpark, can give A&M a chance to get the win. And it can swing back as crazy it is, it can swing back like Tennessee if you do that in the first game today.
We were saying some of the same similar stuff after that Friday night in Tennessee. We really were.
All right, we got 40 seconds, 30 seconds. So let's just say Lampkin delivers that, and they somehow win this series. What are we talking about?
There's momentum going into Hoover where you believe you can get it done. And that belief can go a long way. But they better fight to keep it, and today is a necessity.
And it's single elimination once you get to Hoover. If you can go in there rolling off of 2 wins, you feel good. Tuesday game against a team that might not have too much to play for when you're playing for your life, anything could happen.
It's you don't know what this conference tournament is going to be like. That's going to be crazy.
Gentlemen, thank you. When we come back around the SEC and Billy Liucci, it's TexAgs Live. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been around Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. It's TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We should have Billy Liucci with us here in the next few minutes, but right now it's time for Around the SEC, presented by Jaxer. And the Jaxer Group is going to help you build your dream home on your lot. Let the Jaxer Group help you navigate the entire project from start to finish, making sure your home perfectly suits your lifestyle, your preference, and your budget to turn your dream home into a reality. Visit them at jaxsir.com. It is jaxer.com. All right. Cade Bickham, been the director on point today. Cade, what do you have for us on Around the SEC?
Well, David, I'll start us with some baseball. We've already discussed the A&M game at nauseum, so I'll skip the score of that. But big games last night. Let's see. Number 18 Alabama traveled to number 23 Florida. Florida took the win 7-6 in the first game of that series. Number 9 Vanderbilt beat Kentucky 8-7 in the first game of that series. LSU dropped the first game against South Carolina 6-5. Auburn dropped their first game against Ole Miss 9-2, and then Texas beat Oklahoma 7-4, and Tennessee went into Fayetteville and won 10-7. Shifting over to some men's golf, D1 men's golf regionals are going to begin soon. A lot of SEC teams in it, so Oklahoma is a 1 seed in a regional. Vanderbilt is a 2. Tennessee's a 3. Let's see who else. Auburn and A&M are in the same regional as the 1 and 2 seeds. Florida is in their regional as a 1 seed, and then they have South Carolina as a 5. Texas is a 3 seed in their regional, and then Ole Miss is a 2 seed, and Georgia is a 4 seed in the Tallahassee regional. Then shifting over to track and field, SEC championships began yesterday. Texas A&M's Sophia Lakushina currently leads the women's heptathlon with 3,548 points. The Ole Miss men's team is currently leading after day 1 with 31 points. Alabama is in second. Mississippi State is in third. And then the Georgia women's track team is in the lead currently with 30 points, followed by Arkansas with 16 and Missouri with 11. And then finally, regionals for softball starting today. I think I've counted this correctly. I believe there are 13 SEC softball teams in a regional. A&M is hosting as the 1 seed. Florida is hosting as the 3 overall seed. Georgia is in the Duke regional. Duke is the 14th overall seed. Kentucky is in the Clemson regional. Clemson is the 11th overall seed. South Carolina is hosting as the 8. Texas is hosting as the 6. Tennessee is hosting as the 7. Auburn is going to Tallahassee to Florida State's regional. They are hosting as the 5. Mississippi State is going to Texas Tech's regional. Texas Tech is the 12. LSU is hosting as the 10. Ole Miss in Arizona is the 13.
I'm just going to jump in there. That's too many teams. Thank you, Cade. Appreciate that. Here's the deal. I just read this headline, and it got me upset. And I think, Cade, you can help me out with this discussion if you want. Caleb Williams' family did not want to play to be quarterback for the Chicago Bears a year ago when he was drafted number 1 overall by the Bears. And, in fact, they went into it looking at a lawyer to see if there's ways they could avoid going there. This is from an ESPN report. And I am look, I know that Eli Manning did it. I know that I think Shador was trying to do it and he fell. I know I know that John Elway, right? I know that this is a thing that has happened. Kobe Bryant got drafted by Charlotte, or if I remember correctly, and was traded to the Lakers, kind of knowing that he was going to go to the Lakers. So these things have happened. I recognize all that. I know it's the case, and you forget about it and you just move on. I don't like it. I don't like I recognize when you sign up for the NFL, it's kind of like it's weird, right? Because this is not the real world. In the real world, if you worked for Amazon or Disney and they're like, hey, you can keep your job or we're going to transfer you to Maine. It is what it is, buddy. You want this job? You're going to go. NFL is kind of, well, it is that way, right? Like you get picked to go to a place. I don't like this player empowerment era that we're in. There's certain things that are very good about it. I don't like that part of it. You'd rather be out there? I think I'd rather you be out there as well. How about that?
There's like
I can match that energy. 3 cups.
There's like 100 people out there.
New interns learning the ropes.
I mean, it looks fun. Like, it looks more fun than in here. It's just me and you. It's quiet. What's happening?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I like that shirt, actually.
Thank you.
I thought I was going to say something mean to you, but I decided to go with what I was thinking. I was thinking I like that
good
shirt.
color on me, I feel like. Yep.
Yeah, you kind of remind me of somebody who went to Baylor. Anyway.
This is Baylor's color?
Kind of. A little Baylor.
It's not at all, but.
It's green. Because I'm going to, when we were kids, you could read a book called Choose Your Own Adventure. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, those came out when I was in like elementary.
Those are great, right?
So it was like the perfect time.
Yeah, great. We're going to do Choose Your Own Adventure.
Okay.
We've done a lot of baseball on the show. We've done some softball. We've done some football. I'm going to let you choose your adventure for this first segment. You tell me what direction we go, and we go that direction.
Sure.
So I'm giving you the option. You
gave me baseball, softball,
or you can do magical topic. You pick that magical topic.
I'm not good with this. Just pick something.
All right. Well, let's start off.
I ruined your game. I don't want to play games today. I'm not in a game playing mood. I'm actually in a good mood, but I'm not in a game playing mood.
Okay, well, I've learned this.
What?
This is what I've learned. And I've only shared it with a few people.
Did you get a fade?
It's got a low taper fade. Yeah. Same haircut that I got a month ago.
Lou Diamond Phillips got you. Now you're back to
Gosling. But I didn't push it back. Look, I had a fro. I had to cut it.
You did.
So
it didn't look bad.
It looked terrible. Yesterday was one of the worst days. But that being said, I have learned that whatever I want to go with, you'll go a different direction. So that's why if I go with your direction,
your wheels should be turning right now.
Right?
Reverse psychology.
Power, player power.
Power? We're doing
player
Kanye now?
No, I'm not
something
talking
else.
Kanye. I'm very upset with him right now.
Come on.
Very upset.
Keep going.
Baseball. Let's just continue with the theme of.
Yeah. I feel like that's the actual legitimate open.
I mean, you can definitely make an argument for softball because of what's going on, but we'll get to softball in the next segment. Let's talk baseball because the path continues to get more narrow, bleak, whatever we want to call it. Yesterday, it started off really nice. Very, very excited with the way things started, but I have come to expect bad things, and bad things happened.
Yeah, I mean, I heard you guys talking about it. 17 strikeouts it's insane.
Yeah,
and there's two sides to that. There's that, and then there's Georgia's played an entire season of baseball, including non-conference, non-Power 4. They've played an entire season of baseball, and that's the most strikeouts they recorded this year against an opponent, if I'm not mistaken. So Aggie bats did worse than anyone on that Georgia schedule. How do you reconcile with that? And then to have that following up what happened at Missouri or against Missouri last weekend, where their inability to connect with 2 strikes and just really horrific at-bats, I would call them, I wouldn't call them disinterested. I heard y'all having that debate, but just incredibly low confidence, a ton of frustration. Frustration has set in. I think their confidence is shattered. And that tells me it was like such a fragile confidence anyway. It makes no sense. Like, guys, you're a team that beat Tennessee on the road. You beat Arkansas on the road. You beat LSU, who's currently sitting at number 1. You lost 3 one-run dogfights to Texas, who was sitting at 1 at the time. I think they're 2 now. How do you lose confidence so quickly because you blew a lead to Missouri in the 9th inning unexpectedly? It was almost like that inning, it all came unraveled in that 9th inning, and they have the inability to get that back and to go home that night, sleep it off, and recover is shocking to me because it sent them like in this complete spiral all the way back to how they were earlier in the season. And that's even with Sorrell in there. I know he hit the big home run to get them going yesterday, but even when he was in there, like they were playing like they were without him earlier in the year, just no confidence in what they're doing. I think a lazy approach at the plate, selfish approach would be appropriate ways to put it. And man, this is 4 games in a row now of just god-awful, horrific appearances at the plate, team-wide.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's somebody that raises their hand and goes, not me, that's fine. I don't care about you, because if you're worried about you, you're not looking at the whole team-wide slump. Beyond a slump, though, it's like they've just forgotten how to hit. And I don't care what the strikeouts numbers that y'all wrestled with for 7 minutes this morning say. I know they're playing a lot worse right now, and they're doing a lot worse at the plate right now, maybe in these last 4 games than they have all year. But certainly going back to early in the year. And like I said, you didn't have Sorrell then. You had him up until middle of the game last night. I've never seen this much of an about face by an A&M sports team. I don't think ever. And they've done it twice in 1 year. Unfortunately, they started there. I swear to God, Nuño, and people don't get this. They want to misconstrue this. I understood in hindsight the first part of the year once they turned it around. If they'd have done that all year, like, hey, that's inexcusable. I don't want to hear about injuries first year. But because they did for 5-6 weeks turn it around, I understood all that. You go, okay, well, that was going on, and they recovered. It was a terrific job by the coaches and players. I would have never expected them to regress and go away. I could have seen them losing 2 out of 3 to LSU, going up to Georgia, losing 2 out of 3, maybe dropping 1 to Missouri and then pounding them and going like 1-1 in the SEC tournament and maybe getting left out because of the first half of the season. I wouldn't say that was an acceptable finish, but I could have seen, like, from Texas on the season going that way. And they almost did. They almost dropped 2 or 3 to LSU. But the Missouri series and now you look at Georgia and you go, you have one path. There's not any other path. I agree with you. I think if they lose tonight, they should skip Patton on Saturday because I don't want to hear about 4 wins total anymore.
You got to win the SEC tournament.
You have to. If they lose tonight, I think they have to win the SEC tournament. Maybe go to a final, but either way, like I don't think winning 1 of 3 in Georgia is. I know RPI wise, you can tell me it is. That's fine, but I think anything short of winning that thing, or at least appearing in the final, which the Patton thing would play in there too, you're not getting in. If you don't win the series, if you win tonight and tomorrow, and I know I'm not expecting that with the way they're playing without Sorrell, but if they did and they won the Georgia series, at least you're armed with, we beat Georgia on the road, the number 1 RPI team. We beat LSU on the road, at home, number 1 team in the country. Arkansas on the road and Tennessee on the road. At least you have all these real pluses on your resume, and you need the Georgia one. I think they need like 4 of them. 4 weekend, like, exclamation points, right? If you don't do that, I don't see any world that they get in without winning the whole thing in Hoover.
That's how I look
so
at it.
I think if you don't win tonight, I think you start, if you're Mike Early, you start looking at that. And there's a reality here that, and I think the players, surely they've got to understand that he's fighting for his job, between here and there. And I don't think it's I don't want to say it's a hard thing of like, don't make the tournament, not return. But I don't think I think you'd be really naive and foolish to think that this wasn't a coach coaching for his job down the stretch. And I think those players that wanted him so badly need to realize that. And he's not going to say that to them, but I think they need to be aware of that. And hey, it's pressure. I get it. There was a stretch this year where it looked like you figured out how to handle that pressure and you reverted back. So really disappointing more than anything in the strikeouts, because I just think they indicate like just a lackadaisical or just either lazy or mentally not tough enough approach at the plate. And that's easy for me and you to say.
Yep.
We go out there and strike out every time. You know, like my baseball experience ended, you know, when I got here to A&M. It was high school. That was it. We all understand how hard it is to hit a baseball, especially at this level, especially in this conference. But when Missouri's doing it better than you for 3 straight games, and it's getting better and better and better, the gap, and then Georgia does it better, okay? And last year when Georgia wanted to jump out on you, you just said, hey, we're going to answer you. 9-0, that's
Boom.
fine.
We're
going to score 19 straight. Like, where is that confidence? Where is that team? Where is that? And I know a lot of the guys have changed, more so than I think we wanted to acknowledge, and more so than the national baseball world wanted to acknowledge. But still, there are enough guys that were a part of a winning program, like championship level program, national championship level, 1 run out. There are enough guys from that team where they should still have that killer instinct. They should still have that, and they don't. And I'm saying when Missouri's out hitting you, and then they go out a game later, and Mississippi State hangs 20 freaking 5 on them. Have y'all talked about that yet today?
Yeah, we did.
25-7, is that what it was?
25-7.
Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
A&M scored how many runs in the final 2 games? 3?
3.
That's pitiful, and that speaks volumes on what A&M's not doing right now.
So we didn't talk about it on the air, but we talked about it on the break, and this is just the reality of the situation. They start the season 1-9.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone 2-8 in their last 10, right?
Yeah.
So 3-17 to bookend the season,
And
that's the story.
And that's how, that's how you put yourself in harm's way in terms of you made a
By the way, that 3-17 not against the number 2, the number 1, the number 2 teams in the country.
Yeah.
Well, it does include Georgia.
You made a hire to see how it goes. And we can argue all day of whether, do you go a second year of this to try to see, like, hey, we made a commitment. We knew there were going to be growing pains. Or do you say these are not growing pains? These are, this is his worst case scenario. I never would have thought that, mid-season it looked bleak. Early in the year, I think Trev Alberts was committed to, hey, we're going to let this season play. He was, let the season play out. Middle of the season, it was starting to look pretty bleak, man. 1-9, and you're going, or you're going to go 7-23, 6-24. Like, you saw that.
Yeah.
That stretch of games coming up, and then all of a sudden the Aggies go 6-6 in those 12 games. You saw the 15 with Georgia. But when they went 6-6 in those 12, and 4 of those 6 were 1-run losses, and wins in Knoxville, in Fayetteville, you really were like, they're past it. And people are giving me hell today on Twitter. It is fun. The people that are normal people, not the psychopaths. I do have some commentary about one of those later that makes me laugh. But when you look at where they were 1 week ago today, it wasn't, again, this is where some people I think are actual really dumb bleeps were on air, really low IQ, unintelligent people, or people that just get too caught up in their made up Twitter persona. Like that kind of dictates their happiness for the day. Sending their little loser buddy, oh, look at this, look what I did. But that's if they even have friends. And if you see me at a concert, my friend, my little Aggie buddy, and you see me with girls that you want to post are in college, you're a really bad judge, because I think these, my standards were older, like 38. So I'm going to tell those girls, I need to remind them, hey.
Somebody posted about you at a concert?
From a year ago and was asking, why was I not in Omaha? Well, mother friend, I was in Omaha from that next day for about 10 days, watching the Aggies, spending Lord knows how much to send 6 people to cover your team that you were rooting for probably like crazy. And we also had Richard Zane ask the best question, probably asked at a press conference. Now, unfortunately, that guy that answered that question won a SEC baseball title trophy last night. But that was what you call work, and that was a full commitment to go up there and cover your team. So just because you're mad right now because your team is losing, and so is he, and so am I, and so are everyone else wearing maroon and white, don't flip the script and try to turn around on me. Yes, I was at George Strait. It was freaking wonderful. I loved it. Because people suck. But I laughed at that one because I'm like, man, I've never seen it where the guy's like wrong. It rivaled the one I had with Slosh, Jimbo, and Buzz in the reigning championships. Well, that thing rivaled that. But at least I wasn't trying to be a complete dumbass to people. Anyway, going back to...
By the way, it did feel like it at the time.
No, that thing is... I get it. Like, I get the fun, and I would do it
It was
back.
21 you posted that, right?
Yeah, I've gone through it a million times. Football had just won a top 5. I mean, I've gone through it a million times. And Slosh worked until he was working for Texas. This team was... And it's part of why this is so...
frustrating.
Why people... It's just so unpalatable for everyone here in College Station because of what you're coming from. And as much as people would hate to acknowledge it, also ties into what's going on in Austin with baseball right now. It's the most imperfect storm if you're an Aggie baseball fan, if you're an Aggie period. And so I get it, and I'm with you guys. Frustration off the charts, disappointment off the charts. Just trying to sit here and go, where's this thing going to go?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a series of really tough conversations had if this team ends up getting their asses kicked up there in Athens and then doesn't go win the SEC tournament. I mean, I think that's what they're up against, and they've done it before. I heard Clendenin talking about it, and I do think there is some truth. And it shouldn't be this, but it's just the reality. So let's talk about the reality. Odds of them winning that tournament and playing the full slate of games are minuscule.
Yeah.
Okay? But to do so, I do think if you lost tonight and you had to go in there probably without Caden Sorrell, and you had to go in there to Hoover, I do think having Patton early and then getting back into your rotation about the time those other teams don't care.
Right.
A&M was in that position last year. It feels like an eternity ago. Nobody really cared. When A&M and Tennessee played, both teams, I think, pulled their guys pretty early. Prager came out pretty early. Tennessee starter came out. Or they didn't even throw their ace, I don't think. But you start to run into the really good teams, but they're almost treating these games like Tuesday nights, or they're getting their starters out after 3 innings. So there is a world, but the caliber of baseball I'm watching them play right now, it doesn't match up to beating anyone, much less winning 2 or 3 in a row to get to that spot.
Let's not forget the best stretch of baseball this year was with a red-hot Caden Sorrell.
Yeah.
And we don't know if he's going to play.
What's happened with Jace has been mind-blowing to me, too. And I know he's kind of, he'll get red hot and then he'll cool off. That's not that abnormal, especially for power hitters. But I think people forget that what he did at Arkansas, and that's why I think not just Aggies, but people around college baseball that have nothing to do with A&M, no offense, Kendall Rogers, we'll leave you out of this and say everyone else around college baseball that didn't have any bias was looking at it going, man, this is could this be one of those Ole Miss type runs? And if you want to laugh at that and think that's wrong, it's easy to say that today as A&M's floundering, but rewind to that Arkansas series Rewind a week ago when everyone just assumed they'd either sweep Missouri or at worst go 2-1, but probably sweep at home. They would have probably been in as we sit here today with a team that their resume over several weeks is like, damn. But that Arkansas series with Jace, when he hits 4 home runs in less than 3 days, and you go, okay, if this Jace is back,
Here we
go with what they've already been doing on the field, watch out. And then he went 1-9 in Austin and just hasn't been able to get it back. And that to me is as shocking as anything. Not that, the power hitter is, going. So it's been, again, it's team wide, but I mentioned Jace just because I really thought that Arkansas series, they were already kind of had turned the season, but I was like, okay, now they're playing their best ball. And look, they lost 3 one-run games to Texas. They won 3 close games to LSU, or 2 of 3 close ones against LSU. But the offense has been anemic since they went to Austin. It was anemic against LSU. It was anemic in Austin. It was pitiful against Missouri, and it was, they got off. They got off good last night. But man, it's Georgia, and it's at Georgia, and that wasn't their Friday night guy. So it's still 6 runs is like, that's not anemic, but you probably know it's going to take more than that to beat those guys in that ballpark. And you struck out 17 times, so it was still pretty bad.
All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with more right now. If your wheels have been damaged by potholes, curbs, or mediums, go see the experts at Brazos Valley Wheel Repair. Don't replace those damaged rims. You need to repair them. They have experts there with over 2 decades of experience. They're always going to make sure that your wheel is returned to perfectly safe working condition. They road force balance all those wheels to make sure you get the smoothest, most safest ride possible. They have experience in repairing everything from your minor curb rash to polishing to more complex jobs like bent or cracked rims. And make sure you don't let anyone tell you that your wheels need to be replaced. Let the experts at Brazos Valley Wheel Repair give you a free evaluation before you do anything so you can save hundreds of dollars. And if your wheels are in good shape but you just want a new look, how about them? They will take care of that for you as well. They can give you a custom great look for your vehicle. Brazos Valley Wheel Repair offers interest-free financing and have affordable pricing and high-quality work. It is Brazos Valley Wheel Repair. Find them at bvwheelrepair.com or in person at 508 Burnett Street in Bryan. All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals to make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. And here's another thing. They're going to be at the Troubadour Festival this weekend. They'll have a booth there. Go say hi. Tell them TexAgs sent you by. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the program. We're kind of late for a break, but Billy, I'm going to be heading over to see the softball game today. I'm excited about what they're doing, and I've said this many times on the show, so it may annoy you, but I really do believe that softball team has taken on the image of their head coach.
Oh, yeah.
And I think great teams do that,
Mm-hmm.
and they 100% have.
Yeah, and anyone in here knows how impressive Trisha Ford's been since the day she got here, before they were winning at this level. Like, kind of a lot like Jamie Morrison in volleyball, where you just, from day one, you know, you just kind of know. You go, man, they've got it. Like, she's got the it factor. She's got it. And the team has taken on that personality. And again, what they did to Texas, I believe what they would have done with OU. Just they were rolling through that tournament. What they did in Knoxville the week before to number 2. I feel like when this team gets pissed off, like challenged or feel like they got something to prove, they're at their best, and those are the type of teams I love. And I think they're going to carry that chip on their shoulder all the way, you know, through to wherever this ends up, and they've got a real chance. They're legit. I mean, they're the number 1 seed. Obviously, they're a national title contender, but I think they have the stuff to do it too. They've got the players, they've got the pitching, but to me, it's just more, and the coaching, but it's just more the winning attitude, and they've got that dog in them, and it's just that they're competitors, they're winners. There's going to be setbacks along the way. They've dealt with that. They don't give up. They come back. They get off the mat and fight, whether it's in game or following setback. You know, look, they lost that series to Arkansas. What'd they do? They came back and went on the road and beat Tennessee. I mean, a lot of people were going, "Oh, what are they going to be seeded if they lose that series too?" And we're going to go to Knoxville, and we're going to win the first one, and in the third one, we're going to kick their ass and make it emphatic, like we did to Texas, because they beat us last year and we felt like they shouldn't have. So we are going to target Tennessee. We are going to target Texas. It's not going to affect our performance because we can do both. We can self-motivate through the roof, and we can absolutely target you and say, we want to beat this team badly, and it's personal, and not lose your edge. That's really, it's not easy for teams to do that. There's a reason why coaches typically don't like that with their teams. They don't want a game to kind of stand out. I like when teams can circle, target a team, want payback, not like a team and say, I don't like these guys. I want to beat them worse than I do the normal team. I prefer that. And this team to me has that as well. But they bring it every week, every weekend, every game. They're fun to watch. And that's the other thing. They have fun. And you can see it. And I know that's just that kind of the personality of the sport in general. It's a fun sport to watch. You know, the girls on all the teams are having fun. But this particular team, that they have fun winning, and they tend to look like they have a lot more fun when they're out there kicking people's asses.
We had a break. Come back with more Milliken Reserve Time, Farm to Table community in College Station. They got homes, they got farms, they got trails, they got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. They're dedicated to the conservation of a healthy community. And they've done that with 2,600 acres of open space, 30 miles of trails and homes. They respect the native landscape and the wildlife. They have an extensive network of trails throughout a wooded landscape that includes walking and equestrian paths, creeks and ponds and gathering areas. And they are committed to maintaining and restoring that natural habitat. They have all the animals you can imagine. And homeowners there at Milliken Reserve share a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you come back to that pristine countryside place. It is Milliken Reserve, where you can go hiking, biking, canoeing. Check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. The Red Hot Chili Pepper song.
Never heard that
Yes,
one.
you have. They play it on. What's the name of that song? Kate, come on, type. Carson Stein, somebody. What's the name? It's a very famous Red Hot Chili Pepper song. That song. No?
I've never.
I just don't know the words. You know what I'm talking about. It's not Californication.
That was Californication.
No, it's not Californication. It's not. Scar Tissue.
And how are you doing it?
In the shady doo-doo. I don't know.
What is that?
It's the song.
That is not Californication.
I didn't say it.
And the shady doo-doo.
Scar Tissue.
Sing it again.
No.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're
Sing.
on.
I'd like to hear
No,
it.
I'm
Come
not
on.
going to sing it anymore.
Please.
Maria, go ahead.
Please do it.
No, not going to
I've
happen.
had, it's been a rough couple weeks of baseball. Please entertain
In
me.
the shady down. That song.
How is that Scar Tissue?
That's the song. Okay, that's it, right? Tell me.
I think so. Let me go look it up.
It's
It's
it.
I don't love you. It had nothing. It didn't.
I'm being informed by Reese next to me that it is Scar Tissue.
Yeah.
You sound like you're having a seizure.
That's what he's doing in the song. You can't understand what he's saying. There's a lot of songs.
With the birds, I share this lonely view.
Yeah.
Well, you've gone to Lyric Genius.
No way. I understand.
There's no chance.
I
you
understand English.
No.
That's what he said. You're making it sound like there's some kind of like
do you know the words to La
Italian
Bamba?
band. Sound like there's like an Italian band from Italy.
Do you know the words to La Bamba?
Yes, I
Tell me.
actually do.
Tell me.
La Bamba.
That's how I hear it. No, that's how I hear the Red Hot Chili
But English is your first language.
I actually learned
like
Spanish.
it is mine.
I learned Spanish first.
I'm sorry. I've
By
never.
the way, it's para bailar la bamba.
Yeah,
to
dance the
La
bamba.
And-
The bamba.
Yeah, and then this dude's over here saying,
I wish I would have never asked you to sing this. It's the biggest regret I've had on this show.
well, look, let's be honest.
What do we want to
Today's show's been a beatdown.
It's a Friday, man. It's
Let's be happy.
What if? Okay.
Play the what if.
What if they win tonight, win tomorrow?
Win 2 games.
Win 2. Well, I think. See, there's also a problem with losing the first game the way you did. Because now everyone in college baseball
has moved on.
There are like other games. There's other things to pay attention to. Had you won the first 2 and lost, and even if they get to 2-1 this way, but if they'd have gotten there, win 2, lose 1, they've already clinched the series, and then people have to start going, wait, they won the series in Athens against the number 1 RPI team. What does that do for them? And it starts all the conversation, but man, it's going to take some kind of miraculous turnaround, and they have not been playing like they have it in them.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it's true. And I'll tell you who people I was noticing people thought were down and out yesterday was Mark Weaver in women's tennis. And I know, look, there's a reality, and it is big 3 for me, and I think for most A&M fans. But that doesn't take away from how much pride Aggies have in all the other athletes and winning championships and the desire to win them. There's some big donors that are big givers to every other sport. The NIL, I think, is competitive in most sports here. I hope it is. It better be. Because if you're going to play it, try to win it. And some of these sports get quite a bit of exposure, softball being one of them, women's basketball being another. And you saw it even last year with volleyball when Jamie Morrison's team went on that run to the Sweet 16 and almost knocked off Wisconsin to go to the Elite 8. People everywhere were watching that game. You saw it on social media. It's college athletics. And I'm not a big, if they win like a Director's Cup, I think it's an accomplishment worth talking about because it celebrates the other athletes in the department. I think it's a feather in the athletic director's cap. I think, again, if you're going to do it, you want to be great at it. But sometimes that Director's Cup has some wild-ass sports in it that either A&M even doesn't compete in or there's only a few. I'm kind of confused, does rowing count, but equestrian doesn't? I haven't even
that is
studied.
true.
I haven't even studied the why of that. I haven't studied the why. But if you're going to compete in it, be great in it. And no one's been greater than Mark Weaver and those girls in Aggie women's tennis. They went, what was it? And I might be missing a year. It might have been this might be year 4 of this, but they went to the Final Four. They won a national championship. They're back in a Final Four with a chance to go back-to-back. They've won several SEC titles. I'm not sure if you want to look up the last 4 years of women's tennis, just how they fared in the tournament and their finishes. But
so in 23, SEC champions, NCAA quarterfinals. 22, SEC champions, SEC tournament of champs, NCAA quarterfinals. And 21, round of 16.
So they went Elite Eight, Final Four, national champs, back in the Final Four. I think that might be off a little, but I mean that's an incredible run. They are the premier program in the country in that sport, and they're showing it again. And yesterday they were in a little bit of a dogfight with Tennessee there in the early going. It looked like I was watching it for a little bit, and the announcer seemed to think Tennessee was just about to get a stranglehold on that match, and then A&M turned it around and ended up winning, I think, pretty comfortably. But now going back to a Final Four. So it's exciting. Weaver's a guy I've known for a long time. He's one of the nicest people to come through here on any level, much less to be a head coach of a sport. So it's good to see. It's fun to see. Go ahead.
No, Maria had my back. People were asking if the singing that I did was worse.
People said it was good.
And Maria's like, he did good. He did really good.
You said that, or the people were saying it?
She said that. The people were.
They asked if it sounded worse in person.
Mm-hmm.
I said, he did fine.
That might become a new
It was
bit.
pretty bad in person.
We might do that every segment.
I can
forward.
say, I can attest, it was brutally bad.
Yeah, come back with a hip hop song.
I think the tune was good. It was just the lyrics.
No, I thought the tune is what was so bad. I had no idea what song it was.
Exactly correct.
And by the way, on air, he changed it once I sang it, and he caught the tune a little bit.
When you're listening to the song, it sounds just like that, I feel like.
Well, if it sounded like that,
hard to-
Maria, the Red Hot Chili Peppers would not have sold as many records as they did.
Oh,
they would actually not be a popular band. They would have never done anything.
Speaking of selling records, all the
Bad
people I
Bunny.
listen to, Bad Bunny. I'm not going to talk about one of the rappers I used to love to talk about. We're going to hit a break here.
Bad Bunny.
We'll come back with a final segment here on TexAgs Live. Who is calling my
Wait,
phone?
what was
Billy?
that?
That song is great. Is it Keisha? Is it Becky?
Kesha?
No.
Oh,
Is
is
it
it
Stacey?
Keisha? Drake, yeah.
Okay.
Probably, would that, okay.
Drake destroyed.
Okay.
Kendrick had
Would
the
you
better
want me to
rhymes.
go, is that the one where he's dancing beside the car and people started doing that running? Was that one?
No, that was Do You Love Me?
Oh, yeah. Do
The
you love me?
Kiki, Do You
yeah.
Love Me?
Okay, that song you're singing and that song that you're dancing to.
Yep.
Let's be honest. Would it be a top 100 Drake song? Because my answer would be no, right off the rip.
It might end up being there.
Okay, it might be.
Die Trying to
Would
me
it be,
already
Would
is.
it be a
People-
top 50 Drake song? I think the answer would be no.
Top 50 is absolutely in the
Top 50, I say no.
You know what? I'm going to see what Spotify
No,
says
no,
about
no.
that. No, I'm going to because
Nuño.
what?
We're on.
But
I want to talk a little Aggie football.
Okay, sorry.
God forbid. I mean,
Sorry.
Change the backdrop. Oh no, it is football. Perfect. By the way,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to say hi to these people that like
Are they calling your phone?
no, that listen to the show from other fan bases, and I guess they thought they were going to catch me like day after November 30th, Billy, coming in with a hoodie, hadn't slept, just like I'm good. You want some honesty here that people will like to hear, but I get it, dude. If you want to watch this, and I had a lot of Longhorns come up and say, "Oh, we watch the show all the time," and I know why they watch, and some of them genuinely like it. I don't mind watching other stuff from around the SEC, particularly week of, but during the off season. But the rival stuff is fun to watch, especially when they're down. And I would be lying to you if there was a little piece of me that wishes the Longhorn Network had still been around, because I would be an absolute liar if I said it wasn't an enjoyable part of like a little, like 30 minutes here and there, Sunday, Monday, watching like a post-game show at DKR after they lost to Kansas. Or, there were down times. I would enjoy that. Just like I love watching the SEC Network when the Aggies win, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. I'm getting home, whether it's right after the game, whether it's after dinner, whether it's night out. I'm getting home and I'm watching that when they win. When they lose, I'm probably not tuning in. Had nothing against Peter Burns and the crew, Doring and those guys, but I'm not watching. But when Texas was losing, I was watching a little Longhorn Network and thoroughly enjoying it. So you're welcome for the entertainment today.
Thank you, Billy. That was great.
And we're doing overtime.
I guess we're doing overtime. Go to
Brought to you
TexAgs.com.
by
The Rogue Shop. We'll tell you about them in a moment. Goodbye.